Welcome to another episode of Leon's Entrepreneurship Series. Right now, I'm here with Miss Kishma Serieux.
Hi, Liam.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yes. What product or service do you offer your customers?
So we have a wide range of products, Liam. We do teas, like what we have on here. We do aromatherapy inhalers. So we do for headache, we do for sinus, we do for immune boosting. We do reproductive health, hair, skin, and we also do customization. So generally just herbal products. As it relates to services, we also do massages, whether it be localized massages, so say you have just shoulder pain, or if you want a whole body experience, we do that as well.
How do you customize the experience?
I love that question. So it depends very much on the client. So while we may have teas, so for example, we could have lotion chai or lotion Christmas as standard teas. But if you're coming with, say you have severe digestive issues, then we would create a tea specifically for that. So yours would have fennel, it would have ginger, it would have mint, etc. Similarly, if we're doing a cleanse and you're a man, then we would put in your cleanse as much as it would have the nettle and dandelion. Yours would also have sopometo and damiana and cleanses for men, herbs for men. Whereas if it's a woman, we would do red raspberry, red clover, stuff for the womb. So based on who's in front of us, we adjust accordingly.
When did you start African Organics?
So African Organics is about the age of my last daughter, about a year less, and she's 11. It did not originally start as African Organics, it didn't even start as that. She just had really sensitive skin, and I needed to create something for her, especially for diaper rash and all that kind of thing. And she had hair that just refused to grow, so we created a balm with things like castor oil and jojoba, argan oil, and then the business kind of grew from there. So it grew out of a need that my daughter had for products that were safe on her skin and on her hair. And thereafter it just started demanding, and the business kind of decided what it was going to do, what direction it would go. So I didn't get up and say, oh, I'm going to make teas. It was more like, Kishma, can you make me some tea for that? And then the business, as I trained, as I studied more, then the business expanded.
What courses did you take?
So my eldest daughter, and she's going to be upset at me for saying that, she stepped on my toe and it broke. So she has her own guilt with that. But I was home for a little while and I got bored, so I did a course in Introduction to Essential Oils, which I really liked. And then I did another course in body balms and butters, and then I did my diploma in aromatherapy. And then I did another course in herbal formulation, and then I did herbal medicine, then my master's diploma in herbal medicine, then massage. So it was like one after, it was like, oh, this is interesting, how about this? Oh, this is interesting, how about this? And here we are, as a result.
So can I call you Dr. Kishma?
Not yet, but hopefully by our next interview. Yes, we're working on that.
When did you realize that this was the service you wanted to offer over anything else?
I like that. It actually falls into two parts. So for about almost 15 years, I was a firefighter and an EMT. So when I started studying herbal medicine, that's what I was doing. And then the simple things, like sometimes you'd have a patient on the ambulance and they give you the list of medications, and sometimes you're taking so many things for cholesterol, and I'm like, have you heard of turmeric? Simple things like that could have helped. So that's where it started. But what I realized is, no matter what was happening in my life, that was a place for me that every time I went back to it, I felt at peace. So whether it was firefighting, which was emergency medicine or herbal medicine, I have a passion for helping and for healing and for helping persons come to a place where they're not in pain as much. So the more I went into it, the calmer I felt. And it's very relaxing and very peaceful for me. I feel very centered when I blend. I'm in a different space when I blend. So even now we have our nervous system regulation space, which is where we blend. And it's just a calming space where there's diffusers running and soft sounds and a decompression area. And you just sit and you make tea and you blend products and you. So it makes me feel very centered. And from that place, I make products.
Did you find it concerning when you realized that the patient had to take all these medications?
Sometimes I think everything has its place. I'm never one who would say don't take doctor medication or don't take prescribed medication and take herbal medicine. I think everything has its place. But I also believe that we exist in a space where if you can do it simpler with less side effects, then do it simpler with less side effects. If you were to find yourself in an accident and you now require surgery, I would not be the one that you come to, right? You would go to a surgeon. But equally, if you're having digestive issues, where you can go to a doctor to pop a pill, but you can also take some peppermint tea. If you have a headache, you can also take some rosemary tea. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of the time it's lack of knowledge. Persons don't know that they have some of the solutions close by. And so we've been conditioned to run to the doctor for everything. I think the doctor has its place, but I also think we have a responsibility to learn the simple things that make things a bit easier for us. With fruits, with vegetables, and with herbs.
What mindset did you have when you first started your business?
Initially, when the business started, it was very much about, being an entrepreneur, making good products, that kind of thing. It was very much about go-getter, trying to get things done. I have shifted a bit in terms of still very much entrepreneurial, but what I've learned is allow the business to grow organically. Sometimes you push something uphill before it's ready, and also be ready for the growth of the business. I've learned to give myself grace. I remember once I wanted to open a space for the business, and I was going, okay, am I qualified enough? Do I need this? Should I do more courses? Do I need this? So I used to overthink everything. And do I have this right? And then I've learned this is a learning process. And if you ask me to do something for you and I don't know, I say, let me get back to you. And I go do the necessary research. So as much as possible, I try to have a business that is ethical. So if I say to you, this has ABC, then that's what's in it, ABC. As much as possible to create products that people trust and to create products that are based in knowledge and to meet people where they are. So this is the issue that you're having, let's deal with the issue. So the mindset now as opposed to before is understanding that growth is not a straight line. You fall, you get up, you dust off, you try again. So that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Do you ever get bored of creating products?
Oh no, I get excited. My friends would travel and bring me back herbs or an essential oil. So they already know I get excited. So I would be like, okay, so you have a fungus and you are diabetic. How can we make this? Okay, so we're going to infuse some clove oil with some peppermint. And so we're going to make clove oil. So we take coconut oil and cloves and we make clove oil. And now we're going to infuse it with clove essential oil and tea tree essential oil. And we're going to add a little basil in there and some oregano and some thyme. And then we're going to create a blend that's going to fight the fungus without causing your blood sugar to dip. That kind of thing. So it's exciting for me because my brain goes, ooh. It's like a challenge thing. And then I spend how long? 2 o'clock in the morning researching all of the properties of this and that, and how can we pair this, and what would be a contraindication, and what would... So I'm always tired but excited. So no, I never get bored. I never get bored.
Were you ever scared of healing?
Every day. Every day. Because it's an interesting, environment that we live in, and you realize that you're doing something that may not necessarily be popular. So there's the fear of failing, yes, but there's a greater fear of not trying. And I think I'm okay with failing if I know I give it my best, but I think I have a bigger issue with not trying at all. Fair?
What advice do you have for a young person who wants to pursue a career in the natural products industry?
Forget the trends. Be authentic. I think a lot of the times we kind of want to shift to what is trending and what is hip and what is popular. But be authentic. Do the work. Learn the herbs. Get the knowledge. Be more than just the product that you are offering. I think the biggest thing for me is I can sit with someone and have a discussion about a particular issue and give you advice and give you suggestions and leave and never sell you a product. So it has to be more than just a product. The aim has to be with helping persons improve their lives with simple things. So gain the necessary knowledge. Be authentic in what it is that you do. Let your name stand behind your brand. More than anything, not just what's trending, and it may be soaps today and it may be body washes today, but create products that genuinely improve the quality of people's lives authentically.
Is there any passion that you took from being a firefighter into being a herbalist?
Yeah, I love that question. Actually wrote a poem about that. The changes. I think the biggest thing is the discipline, because firefighting is a very, very disciplined profession. I think it allows for you to remain calm under the gravest of circumstances, and it translates into the business in that even when there are days when you're not quite sure how the day will turn out, you're still able to maintain your calm. That's the psychology in firefighting and emergency medicine. But I also think it's the self-sacrifice. Firefighting is about, and EMS is about doing for others with no personal gain. So whether it is firefighting, whether it is an ambulance run, whether it is lecturing, whatever it is in the business of service. So the same still applies, it's just in a different area. So it shifts from emergency medicine to herbal medicine, but the idea is still the same, the base is still the same. It is about authenticity. It is treating people with care and respect and dignity. Whether you're picking them up on the road, whether you're helping her deliver a baby, or whether you are preparing a blend for this individual, it is maintaining the level of dignity and respect as we deal with people.
How do you think that the natural product industry has evolved over the past 10 years, and how do you think it's going to evolve in the future?
I think 10 years ago, herbal medicine was still looked at as something that not necessarily you take as serious. But what has happened is persons have found their way back to earth. Persons have found, whether it be side effects from certain drugs, whether it is the knowledge of certain plants. So it has come from something where it was, something the Rastafarians doing, or something that your grandmother is doing. There was a certain level of lack that was attached to herbal medicine. So it was, as you grow in prominence, then you kind of step away from it. And what I mean is, it was seen as something your grandmother does, something the people in the country do, something in the heights, that kind of thing. But herbal medicine, herbalism, natural medicine on its own is very luxurious. The ability to take something from earth and heal or minimize an issue that you have is something of luxury. the ability to take something in its raw state, and then you take it in and it automatically eases, is luxury. And I think persons are surely coming to that realization. The second thing is, the way that I see it evolving is that the fact that there are less side effects, the fact that more persons are becoming more in tune to making healthier decisions, eating healthier, minimizing on sweets, that kind of thing, and finding alternatives. And nature has always been the source, not the alternative, but the source. And as you learn the benefits of certain things, then you start to move, because people are moving along the lines of more self-care. Because 10, 15, 20 years ago, we were very much driven by getting, going at the expense of our bodies. And persons are now coming into taking better care of themselves, ensuring that they take care of their mental and physical health. And nature provides the best remedy for that.
What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about natural products?
But it doesn't have a place in luxury. That it is something that is restricted, or that they had. Like I said before, I think that slowly is changing. But I think the biggest misconception is that it's something for the uneducated, it's something for your great-grandparents. It's something that people use because they had no other option. And I think that's something that extends to farming, it extends to core areas that we ignore. So we have farmers, our great-grandparents were farmers, and these farmers paved the way for our doctors and our police officers and our architects and our accountants and our lawyers and our judges. And their sole requirement was that their children did not become farmers, because they saw farming as no other option. And right now we have a problem where the average age of a farmer in St. Lucia is 60 to 65 years. We don't have many young people going into farming, and we have a food security problem as a result. So one of the things that happens with farming, with natural medicine, with things that are natural, is because it is commonplace, people don't necessarily realize how very, very important and essential it is. All of us, we can find a mango tree, we can find a coconut tree, so we tend to take for granted what is easily available to us. And I think the biggest misconception is that herbal medicine does not have a place on the shelf of luxury. And that's a dangerous misconception. Because forget the shelf, it's the whole building. It's the whole building. Because even the tamarind, we don't utilize the teas, and one of our teas here has the tamarind leaf because it helps with digestion and it helps relax you. If our mango leaves, we don't use, our guava leaves, we don't use, and these are things that are so powerful. So we try to incorporate them in our teas, and one of the things that we do is change the way that you see tea. So whether you pick up a Lucian chai, and because I like chai tea, so we created a chai tea blend, but with herbs indigenous to St. Lucia. So you have your boaden and your cannelle and your fennel and your star anise and your ginger, and it's a chai. It's a Lucian chai. And your Lucian Christmas is, what does Christmas really feel like? It feels, in St. Lucia, it feels festive. It is tangy, it has a little spice to it, it has a little kick, and you try to fit that into a tea because you recognize that what it is we have is so precious. We just have not opened our eyes to it.
How do you incorporate artificial intelligence into your business?
Oh, I like AI. I think everything has its place. So my labels. I would do my labels with, whether it be Canva, whether it be Gemini, whether it be ChatGPT, I would use them to generate the labels. But I would be very specific, because I think, AI it runs amok if you don't pull it back. So I'm like, okay, I want a label, I want the pitons in the background, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want this, I want that. I want it to sit here, I don't want it to be busy, I want it to be red, I want it to, and then I send the prompt. And then it comes back and I'm like, okay, remove this, put this, add this, move this, yeah. Okay, now let's have this more. So it's literally like an instruction thing, and then I'm like, awesome, perfect. And then I send it to the printer. So I use it as well if I'm doing a proposal. not in terms of allowing it to write a proposal, but allowing it to guide certain things in the proposal. I use AI, mainly for that component. I don't use AI to blend, in terms to come up with blends. I think there's something beautifully unique about coming up with something on your own, especially a product. But in terms of the presentation, I like AI. Things look awesome. And when I send it to my printer, she goes, "Oh, this is nice." And then, so I think AI has its place. So that's how I use it. And also in my books, I use it for illustrations and stuff like that.
Apart from being a herbalist, you're also an author. Can you tell us a little bit more about your children's book?
Sure. So this one is called St. Lucia's Island Life, where family, culture, and farms thrive. This one was written by me and beloved Oliver. Now this was a project, it was an original project, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Grenada. It was sponsored by the Caribbean Culture Fund and financed by the Centre des Arts in Haiti. So the whole idea was to identify a multi-generational family, and it must have had a child, because the child has to contribute to the book, that is practicing sustainable farming. The idea is to get children interested in farming, because like we mentioned, the age, don't have children interested anymore. So the book is written from, well, not as much I should say. The book is written from the viewpoint, the perspective of Beloved, which is a little boy. He's 8 years old. And he talks about his experience on the farm. He talks about what he sees, what he does, what he takes part in. His great-grandmother is on the farm. His great-grandmother is 80. This is her. She looks younger than all of us. And she was born on the farm, in a cottage just under a breadfruit tree. The breadfruit tree is still on the farm. So if she's 80, it means the breadfruit tree is much older than her. So it really talks about the connection between, the old and the younger. So she passes on the knowledge that she has. Sustainable farming, composting, rainwater harvesting, and the father, of course, brings in new things. The little boy plants, sells his stuff at the market. So the book is basically about farming and the way that it connects all of us around the Caribbean. So Grenada has one, so there's Grenada's Island Life, which deals with a separate story, and Dominica, which deals with a separate story. And I was commissioned to do St. Lucia's story. So that's that's the second of our children's book. The first is called Mia and the Whispering Breeze, and it's about a neurodivergent child navigating Caribbean classroom. This one was written by my daughter and myself.
What do you think is the biggest misconception people make when starting a business?
I think persons don't cater for the process. I think there's the misconception that success is a straight line and that your idea is enough to make something successful. I think recognizing that it will take work, it will take effort. I think it's Les Brown who said mastery demands all of a person. So it's something that you have to pour into. I think sometimes we have the idea of, okay, I do this, I do that, and in no time it's instantaneous. But if you want to build something that is of substance, then it's going to take time. I think persons are scared of making mistakes, but mistakes shows that you're learning. Because if you're not making mistakes, it means you're not trying anything new. It means you're only doing what you've already mastered. So which means you're not growing at all, you're just operating in the same space. So I think the biggest misconception is that, I won't use the word easy, but that the process is a simple, straightforward one. It seldom isn't. However, there needs to be a passion for what you do. Don't build a business based on its ability to earn money. If you're doing something that you genuinely love and you're doing it with ethics, the money will come. The money will come. Sometimes we jump into things because we see a financial opportunity, but things that align with your character, things that align with who it is that you are. I think the biggest misconception is that it's supposed to be straightforward. Very seldom are things a straight line, you know, and you. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the perception of social media?
I think social media is a beautiful platform and a dangerous platform. Nobody highlights their struggle. Nobody shows you reels of when things were really, really bad and when the finances were not coming in. But everybody highlights when they've reached an area, when they're now successful. And I think people gravitate towards a finished product, not looking at what it took to get there. Social media gives the illusion of instant gratification, like everything just happens like that. It doesn't. But we like the idea of a finished product. I think it gives us the possibility that everybody could do X and everybody could do Y. Nobody is self-made. There's no such thing as a self-made person. Everybody was influenced by someone. Everybody had somebody who provided support, coaching, advice, held, the device during a recording session. That kind of thing. Everybody has, there's no one who's self-made. But one of the things that persons seem to perpetuate in social media is that, look at my life and it's so glamorous and you can do this and look where I am. Yeah, but how many times did you fall before you got up? How many times did you fail? How many businesses? It's said that every successful business person has about 5 or 6 businesses that they failed at before they succeeded. So when you look at whomever it may be, there's a string of businesses that were like, okay, you know what, this one didn't work out, let's try this. This didn't work out, let's try this. And sometimes we fail to recognize that at the end of the day, I give you the picture that I think will make me look the best. That doesn't mean it's a true representation of what actually is.
Have you ever heard about the 10,000 hour rule?
The 10,000 hour rule? No. I'd love to hear about it though.
To become a master at anything, you have to accumulate the sum of at least 10,000 hours in that field.
I love that. So I know the 10,000 pictures one, which is similar. This photographer says that your first 10,000 pictures are your worst. So get over them as quickly as possible. Just start snapping pictures so you can just get the first 10,000 out of the way so you can be a master. So I guess it's the same concept, but I like that. 10,000 hours, that's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. Yeah. So what hour are you on now?
That's a good question.
I love that. Your first 10,000 hours.
If there's one piece of advice that you give to your younger self, what would it be? Do
the thing. The thing that scares you, the thing that, makes you shake, the thing you're not sure you're going to be good at. Do the thing. And it falls back on your 10,000 hours. Because I think if my younger self had started 10,000 hours ago, you'd be calling me Dr. Kishma by now. But do the thing that scares you, because you don't get another life. And living it out of fear or out of the concern over what people may think or whether or not something will work. Yeah, leap. Trust that the net will appear. But I think that would be the biggest thing. Do the thing, the scary thing. Say the thing, do the thing, try the thing, manifest the thing. Do the thing. Do the thing. And drink water.
Drink water.
Drink water often.
Yeah.
Yeah, drink water often. But yes. Yeah.
And why did you agree to do this interview?
I watched you launch your clothing brand. I watched your interviews on YouTube. I think you're an absolutely phenomenal human being. I think that you've not allowed the perceived limitations to stop you. I remember your mom's concern when you were getting ready to write CPA, and then you're going and smashing it and going across the desk. I have followed you in the sidelines quietly, and I have mad respect for what it is you do. So the opportunity to sit and discuss anything with you is not one I would pass upon. That's why.
Oh, and thank you for being a part of this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, William. I do sincerely and genuinely appreciate being here.